Okay, what do you want to know?
Just your time in the service, what you did, service you were in, any...
Okay, I was in the Navy during World War II. I went in 1944. I was 17 years of age. I have, I wear 8 combat stars. I actually authorized 9. And I was aboard the WASP, the aircraft carrier, USS WASP, CV-18. And,
you need a pen and paper?
No, I got...
you recording it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we got bombed. I was thrown about 30 yards. And, well, we beat the Japanese, and that. We were down in Tokyo Bay. We hit in the latter part of the war, and we'd go down in Tokyo Bay, and then we'd bomb Japan for about 5 days, and then we head up to the North Pole. We got there for about 4 or 5 days. Then we come back down into the Tokyo Bay, do the same thing over and over again. Finally, we got hit. We got bombed. And that's when I got thrown about 30 yards. I was with catapult planes off the deck, and I really don't know what you really want, you know, as far as, you know. And then after the war was over with, we went back, we came back home. We went, made our ship into a passenger ship. We put bunks on the hangar deck, and we went to Italy and brought soldiers home. And then we went, later on, we went to England. And then, of course, my Navy career ended, and I came back and finished my last year of high school. And then I went into the Army. I was in charge of the war crime files in Heidelberg, Germany, and was actually in charge of the message center and the war crime files. And then later on, I came back home and went down to the Chemical Corps down in Alabama, and then I was in helped bring in the helicopters into the Army, and from there I went to school in Fort Halliburton and became a special agent for the counterintelligence, which was a part of CIA. It wasn't a part of CIA at the time, but later on it was a CIA. What happened was that the CIA is a Central Intelligence Agency, and what they did for us was actually, we had informants into East Germany, and they would, sometimes these informants would come and they get paid not only from the Army, or the Navy, or the Air Force, and that, so they had it worked out. So we had their pictures and fingerprints and that, and so they didn't get only one pay, and that's how the Central Intelligence Agency got started.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had some of their own agents later on. They were very good. They were very poor as far as we knew them, agents and that, and it was just a promotion for other people. And so, and I stayed in the counterintelligence for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else?
So do you have like any stories from your time in the service, like why you joined, how you got there, where did you go for enlistment, or? Well,
the war was on, and I always tease the older fellows and that. I'm 88 right now, so we tease the older fellows. It took us 17-year-olds to come in and win the damn war, you know. And of course, they don't like to hear that, but that's the way it was. Audrey Murphy was 17 when he went in, and when I went in, I was promised to become a pilot. it was a V5 program, and my companion, he was promised the same, but then they found out he was colorblind, so he couldn't become a pilot. So I wasn't going to become a pilot if he wasn't. So I said, well, we'll take sea duty instead. So that's what we got. He got a destroyer, and I got the aircraft carrier. Yeah, and that's, you know. We didn't have to get drafted. We went when we were 17. So, and I don't know really what you want. If you want combat time or what?
Yeah, combat time.
Okay. When we first got aboard ship, we didn't have a job at the time, and so we were up near the Philippines, and we ran into a bunch of Betties, Japanese Betties bombers, and they we didn't have a job, so we were sitting on the deck edge watching these bombers fly between the cruiser and us, and of course the cruiser was firing and we were firing 20 millimeters, 40 millimeters, 5 inches, and so friendly chief came over and kicked us in the rump and said, "Get to the island instructors, dummies," you know. It was like the 4th of July, really. But, and that was kind of the start. And then we had a lot of accidents aboard ship. A lot of people, a lot of pilots even. They come out early in the morning, it was dark, and somebody would be warming up his airplane, and the pilot walked right into him and make hamburger out of him. And so I can talk on forever.
Yeah, you can talk on about whatever you want. It's your the way you want to say it.
I was up on the fantail one day, and a Japanese plane came in and snuck in, got underneath the radar, and he come right by, and I run down, jumped in the gun mount because the gunners were there, and I pulled back the thing because I had watched them, and here I had empty canisters, so they used to call me 6-gun Fremont. So, and that's all. Anyway, the cruiser behind got it, and so we hit everything, you know, like Guam and all the islands and that we hit in the Pacific, and that we hit the Philippines. I have 2 stars from the Philippines, and that we really hit them hard. We bombed them many times, and found out that their Japanese were storing their ammunition in the hospital, so we bombed hospitals and that, which we normally wouldn't do, you know, but of course they'd blow up, you know, because the ammunition was there. We got the word from the Filipinos, they told us that the Japanese were bringing in ammo, and okay, so I could bring you a thing to show you the battles we were in, you know, and so I always felt the 9th star was so the ninth battle star that I got was so minor that we were only in the latter part of it, just bombing it, and then we come back and we got repaired for our bombing. It blew up on the hangar deck, and then it blew up on the mess deck, and I had we had just secured from into torpedo defense, so we were allowed to go down and get something to eat. So I went down to get something to eat, and for some reason I had bad taste in my mouth, so I went to the latrine, and where I would have been, the bomb hit. Of course, as I came out, the concussion took me and threw me about 30 yards down the gangway, and I can talk on for hours and hours and that, but you know, I can remember pulling people off from the pile. I was on the back side of the pile. I pulled the people off, and I remember one chief I pulled off, and he walked right back in the fire, and I grabbed him and pulled him back, and he swung at me, and I said, "Okay, go ahead." So it was the last I saw of him. And then I get up one deck up where, and Damrose was up there, a big Danish man who took care of our sleeping quarters, and he was laying in bed, and I said, "Come, Damrose, you got to get out of there. Everything's on fire." And he wouldn't even talk. He just and I grabbed him, tried to pull him, but no use. So I said, "Well, goodbye." And that was the last I've seen of him. So he burned up. Yeah. We lost about 155 people killed outright, and we had about 750 wounded. And the Hornet was off on our starboard side. She got hit about the same time we did, but she had all her rockets on the hangar deck, and you could smell it for a mile away. Better, it's burnt flesh, nothing worse. Yeah. And then when we got repaired, we picked up a new squadron, and we lost 27 pilots from San Diego to Hawaii. And then we went up to Kiska and a two off Alaska. The Japanese had them, and we bombed them. And then we went down to Wake, and we bombed them. And then we went back into around Japan. We were in Iwo Jima and Iwo Jima and Formosa and all the islands. And we got called, Japanese were beaten up on their 7th Fleet. We were 5th Fleet. And we went in with 3.5 rockets. There'd be 4 under each wing. And we destroyed 55 destroyers in one day, Japanese destroyers. None of them got off. Mm-hmm. They come down, you're flying about 500 miles an hour, and the rockets take off from there about another 400. And so they hit 1, 2, 3 on a destroyer, and it was down. It was gone. Nobody even got a chance to jump off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can rattle on forever.
He'll listen forever.
Yeah, I'll listen for however long you want.
Yeah, a lot of people claim they were in action and that, but there was like 5 million people in the service, and I think there's like 450,000 actually seen action. Mm-hmm. That's Air Force, Army, and Navy. Yeah. So you hear a lot of people talking, and they might have been there, but they weren't in action. Yeah. So, and then, like I say, counterintelligence, I was in charge of a lot of atomic ammunition and that, and dumps and poisonous gas and stuff like that. I was charged as far as security, and I treated generals like they were privates, and privates like they were generals. So it was all the same. So we wore civilian clothes as a special agent. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything? I'm trying to think here.
I can show you my combat stars and stuff and the ribbons and that, and I'll let you give me a call sometime. I'll see if I can look them up and find them. I'm not much for patriotism, but people call it patriotism. Well, to me, patriotism isn't really putting it on your flags and your other things, and that actually patriotism is actually being fighting for what you think is right.